Welcome to Keep On Casting. We're in Sun City, Kansas. It's the middle of the rut, and we're looking forward to some great whitetail hunting. Stay tuned. Keep On Casting is brought to you by Thibodaux Regional Medical Center, Bronco Industries, leading the field in industrial construction and fabrication. Real Outfitters, proud to be the first family-owned tackle store in Thibodaux, Louisiana. So we're driving into Buster's. We're about 2 miles out from the camp, and we look out and we see a doe standing right there in a little patch of bushes. Usually this time of the year, if you see a doe, you start looking for a buck. That doe was kind of hemmed in there and started moving around, and next thing you know, a buck popped out. So a lot of times in Louisiana, because we have so much cover, we don't actually get to see bucks chasing does as much. Up here, it's a common thing this time, and those bucks will hem those does up. They actually stand over the doe, watching that doe. That's their girlfriend. They're not gonna leave it. They don't eat, they don't sleep. They watch that doe till she's ready to breed.
A lot of times they watch the doe more than they watch what the doe's looking at. Whatever she does, he's coming on a rope with her. He's right behind her. And that's something you can use in the stand as well, as many hunters know. But doe's coming in this time of year, be ready, because there could very easily be something behind her.
Say we have a dry summer, we do have a lot of irrigated ground north of here. I'm sure they move up to in the irrigated corn and soybeans. And then once the circles are harvested, then they move back south a little ways, and that's right where a lot of my hunting property's at. In a dry year, they still have plenty of food, which helps. This year we had about double a rainfall that we normally have, so we're in an area where we have a mixture of short grass and tall grass. And the grass did very well this year, and so the deer could be about anywhere, really.
So staying here at Buster's Outfitters, this is my 4th year to come out here, and I started bringing little Bo after the first year. It's a great atmosphere out here, and it's great quality family time.
We're sitting in front of a 2-story brick bank building that was built in 1906. The bottom was built for a banker from Missouri, and then the top floor was a Oddfellows hall. And on the front of the building, you have the IOOF and the bank. At that time, Sun City, there was 1,500 people in this town, and today there's about 30. The bank was in business for a short time too. Owner finally called it good. I think the first depression got the bank in the 19-teens at some time. And so the bank was kind of short-lived. But the building's still standing and standing for another 100 years from now.
So up in Kansas, the wind is almost always blowing, and it's probably blowing 20 miles an hour today. It's cold. It's cool. They have old barns around everywhere, and this is an old barn. It's pretty interesting. A cow died here many, many years ago, and it was so dry at that time that it just mummified. It's crazy looking. That's a real cow. So that's been here ever since I've been coming here. We always like to give a tribute to the mummified cow. But another thing is, due to the climate's been kind of changing, and it's more warm up here than it used to be, and so it's deteriorating a little now.
I've been outfitting here for 20 years, lived here my whole life. I've been chasing these deer around most of my life. My operation to this day is what I would call a mom and pop operation, and that's the way I like it. My family helps me run it. Two of my best buddies that are actually out-of-state fishing guides in the summertime, Jimbo and Brandon, have been guiding for me for numerous years. And the camp is basically a mom and pop camp. And I believe that that's why we have, why I have a waiting list to this day, people wanting to come and hunt here. We have big deer, beautiful scenery. A lodge that's got a lot of character to it, you know, but I couldn't do this without my guides and my family helping me.
I've been here, I think this is my 16th year. I've been working for Rick at Buster's Outfitters. We've had some really good years. We've had some slow years. We've killed some giants. We've killed some small deer, but they all been good. You know, as long as our customers are happy, we really want everybody to get a deer. That's the goal. And most of the time we can do that. I love fishing, but this up here, hunting these whitetails, is kind of my passion.
My biggest attraction for this area, of course, is the whitetails, because we have very big whitetails here. I've been chasing these things around most of my life. In the last 20 years, I've been outfitting, and when I first started, most of my whitetail hunters were rifle hunters. And I was a bow hunter, and I tried to evolve into bow hunting, and slowly I did. And I think the whole unit has also, but now I have a lot more interest in bow hunters than I do rifle hunters. And so it's worked out very well. Now we do both, but again, the biggest draw I have is whitetail bow hunters in the fall. Now we do have, our turkey here are pure Rios. They're not crossed or anything. And so that's attraction to a lot of the turkey hunters, because they want a pure Rio Grande. It's mostly a spring hunt, a call hunt, but there is a fall hunt too. And so I do have bow hunters that come in here to hunt whitetails, and we can also hunt turkey while they're here.
That's hard.
Oh, that was good, dude. No, it's dead on. You just pulled a little to the left.
That's so hard.
40 yards. Got the sword. So Saturday morning we hunted a place called the Chin Farm, and that was a tent blind also. It's easier to have a tent blind when you have two people because there's just twice as much movement. We saw some nice deer that morning. A little buck come right up to the tent and look at us. That was a little crazy. Brandon just came and got us at the stand. When he was driving in, he thought he saw a deer decoy in the woods. And it's a dead deer, so he asked us if we shot the deer. Of course we didn't. We shot him. Looks like an arrow hole, huh?
Like where you'd shoot him with an arrow, huh?
Yeah.
And the coyotes haven't got him. Can't tell if it's a horn hole from fighting.
Oh, dude, it may be.
Yeah.
Did you see an entrance one?
That's the entrance. That's it.
Up
Just
in
a
it.
hole. The tear. There's no exit one.
Yeah.
A little deer like this hit right there is going to penetrate all the way through.
Wow. You don't look that little. Look at all the frickin' scrapes around here, dude. Look at those over there. See those little trees?
So, wood ducks just get up?
Yeah. See those trees? Those little rubs?
Oh yeah, they're all in there.
Jeez.
There's some big ones. size of an arrow shaft. A little bit bigger than arrows, you know, that big.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, first one this year.
So the next morning, we decided to hunt the Mason farm, which is a little bit further. That was also a tent blind. We packed a lunch, packed some goodies and stuff, and sat down in the blind and immediately started seeing deer. We saw lots of deer. We saw probably 30 or 40 deer. The next shooter buck that we had come out was a 9-point. He came out right behind a little 8-point they were traveling together. And this 9-point comes out, and I could tell he was a big deer. He was all scuffed up. Just when the deer come out here, they're so big that even the little deer seem big to us with our Louisiana and Mississippi deer, but this one probably weighed around 260 pounds. I got a little bow. I said, get ready. He got his gun up and he said, range him. So I had the camera ready. I set it down. I grabbed the rangefinder, ranged him 33 yards. Well, I'd left the camera running. When I picked it back up, I said, all right. He said, 3, 2, 1. And I was like, holy cow. On 2, I pressed the button and the camera was already on, so I turned it off. So I have him saying, 3, 2, turn it off.
What, you thought I missed?
And he made a great shot, double lunged him, went in the woods and died. And we could still see him, so we got out and went and looked at him.
I passed on 2 bucks today that were shooters. I saw this one, and I knew it was my chance. He turned broadside at 20 yards, and I smoked him. All right, we're going find my deer, or walk through it. Let's try and find the arrow.
That's a big old deer, boy. That's a big deer. Oh yeah. That's an hammer, dude.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9-point.
What's up, dude?
Dude, he smoked him.
All right, dude. There we go. There we go. So who shot him? Let's go, bud.
It's a freaking tall deer, too. Long leg.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to decide.
Yep.
I wasn't being picky. I just.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes every time.
Dude, it looks huge with a little bow. Hammer.
Don't grab it, Greg.
Keep on casting.
All right, good job. All right, guys, today we're gonna cook a tortilla soup. My mom found this recipe probably 20 years ago and brought it home to us kids, 5 of us in the family. She made it. She said, look, guys, it's gonna look gross, but you're gonna love it. Well, she almost had to beg us into taking a bite of it, and it was great. So since then, we've all enjoyed this. It's a great recipe. It's easy to do. When you're at the hunting camp, you wanna come in, you wanna be able to warm something up really quick for lunch, and also come in the evening, warm something up really quick. You don't have a lot of time to cook. So this is a great recipe for the hunting camp. Hope y'all enjoy it. All right, guys, so the first thing we wanna do is go ahead and light the fire, get the pot going. We're gonna put a couple of tablespoons of vegetable oil in there. And we always like to use a little Guidry seasoning. You can find this in the South anywhere. If not, it's your Trinity. It's green onions, regular onions, celery, a little bit of garlic. So you want to cook this down, more or less saute that until the vegetables get kind of wilted. And then we're going to start adding our other ingredients. All right, folks, so we got the vegetables cooked down. First thing we're going to add, 2 14-ounce cans of chopped tomatoes. Go ahead and stir that in. Next, we'll add some Rotel. 2 cans of Rotel. Go ahead and stir that in. You want 2 or 3 cans of tomato soup. So we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of cumin powder. My buddy always told me that's a teaspoon right there. Just what'll fit in the palm of your hand. Good. Gonna add some lemon pepper, about 2 tablespoons of lemon pepper. Next, we're gonna add some jalapeno peppers. And for this, you can use fresh jalapeno peppers. So like I said, the recipe that we're gonna post is gonna be a little bit hot. You probably wanna back off on that a little bit. It calls for 6 tablespoons of Tabasco. We're just gonna guess. We'll stop at 5. Then we're gonna add Worcestershire. Can't go wrong with that. About 4 tablespoons. And we'll add a little salt. 2 tablespoons of salt. And like I said, you can modify this recipe a good bit. The original recipe is hot, so you gotta watch it a little bit. Tone it down just a little bit for the kids. And right now it's really thick. The last thing we wanna add is chicken broth. And chicken broth, you can add pretty much anything. You can put that in your spaghetti, your gumbo, whatever. Makes everything good. 36 ounces of chicken broth. That's 32 right there. We're gonna add a little bit more. Good. So when you're sauteing the vegetables, you want to put it, about mid-level heat so you can get those vegetables cooked down. You got to keep stirring so they don't stick to the bottom of the pan. And now that we got all the ingredients in, we're going to cut it down just a little bit. We want it to boil. Once it starts boiling, you can put it on simmer and just keep that going, like I said, for about an hour. Then we're going to add the chicken and be ready to go. So like I said, we learned some shortcuts as we get older. And one is we take a rotisserie chicken from Rouse's, and I'm just gonna debone this chicken, chop it up real fine, and you can't tell the difference. It's good. So we got our chicken all chopped up, and we've been cooking the soup down for about an hour. We're gonna go ahead and add the chicken to it, and it won't be long before we eat. So we got the chicken added. Stir that in real good. And that is all the ingredients that are required. Short of the final preparation, which is putting it in a bowl, adding a few key ingredients, which we'll show you. And once again, I'm gonna tell you, it doesn't look good, but it tastes great. So the final ingredients for the tortilla soup, we're gonna chop up an avocado. I got it peeled already. There's 3 things you wanna add at the end. Avocado, grated cheese, and corn chips. That's it. You mix it up. Once again, it don't look pretty, but it's good. So y'all come eat. Perfect. Awesome. You can find this recipe and more at keeponcastintv.com. So we got to the lodge, met Rick, Jimbo, and Brandon, and we decided we're gonna go out the first day, the first afternoon. So we got all our stuff together, headed out. They put us in a nice blind, looked like a hay bale. It's really just like a pop-up blind. It's great. It's really it's an awesome blind, but the downfall, you can move a lot, but you don't have a lot of visibility. You can keep one side of the windows open, but you got to keep the other ones almost closed or with just one little crack. So we elected to keep the wheat field side open. I had a little crack. Gary had a little bit bigger crack for the camera. And we kept the other side almost closed, but every now and then we'd have to peek out the back side, and we'd see an 8-point, we'd see a 6-point, we'd see another 8-point, and the deer were just, they are moving right now. They're really hard on the does. They probably bred about 50% of the does, so that other 50%, they're getting a little thinned out. Those bucks are having to move around, and we're seeing a lot more bucks and deer moving. So to hunt deer in Kansas, you need a buck tag, and it's actually a lottery that we apply for in April. And at the end of the month, they let you know if you won the lottery, and if you do, it's approximately $400 that goes to your credit card, and if you're in, then you get to hunt bucks. The other rule at Buster's is if you shoot one or you wound one, then you actually want to hunt that stand the next day and try and kill that wounded deer. We're sitting in there, looking. All of a sudden, deer pop out. They had a bunch in the back corner that were moving the whole time. Well, this big buck pops out, and they get closer and closer and closer. Finally, he gets within 40, 45 yards, and I'm like, I got to take a shot. So it's a nice 8-point. Got the bow up, got it ready. Pow! So one thing I wanted to say about these deer, they're incredible animals. I was shooting a Raven crossbow which shoots 415 feet per second at about 45 yards, and that deer was able to drop 6 inches within that short period of time. As you can see the arrow going and the deer going down. Like I said, my shot was a little bit high, but if it had been a little closer, it'd have been a done deal. He was able to drop that much. That arrow went into no man's land. No deer. The hunt's over. We had a nice hunt yesterday evening, stuck a big 8-point. We waited because we didn't have good blood, waited till the next morning. We came out, we brought Luna. She's the trailing dog. We got Brandon, Jimbo, Little Bo, and Nick here. We're gonna go out and see if we can find that deer. There's a fletching. We marked that fletching with blood on it last night. So yesterday I made about a 45-yard shot. We saw this deer come over this way, jump the fence. I don't know, the shot was a little bit high. Last night we were kind of disoriented when it got dark and we looked all in the corner, but this is where he crossed the fence. Jimbo's on him out there with the dog. We don't want to go mess him up.
Most of this land is just little ravines, little canyons. This is what they call grassland. There's a lot of hidey holes up in there. The bigger deer, they use these drains to hide in, to move in. They know where every low spot is in all these pastures along here. And they can get in them low spots and you'll never see them. You very rarely ever see them. But they like this because, like I say, no one ever goes in here really. And they feel safe. These little hilltops, these little knobs and stuff, a lot of times these bucks, when they get to really running these does hard, they'll use the hilltops, they'll run up on the hilltop and they'll be able to look down in the drains. And if they spot a doe, they're gone. It gives them a vantage point. And that's about the only time you're gonna see a big boy out where you can actually see him, is when he's looking for a doe, unless you're lucky enough to have him walk underneath your ladder. She got real anxious up there. There's an old pond up there, but we didn't find anything. Never found any blood.
No blood. We've had a great time up here. It's Thanksgiving week. We want to get back and see our families. So we'll be heading back to Louisiana. It's a 10-hour drive to Ruston, where my family lives, and then a 5-hour drive back to Thibodaux. But we'll probably stop by the hunting camp in Mississippi. As always, we want to thank our troops. Without y'all, we couldn't do what we're doing today. And until next time, keep on casting.
So Boudreaux and Marie, they sitting around one night. Boudreaux gets up, he says, Marie, I need to go to the store. You need anything? She says, yeah, just get me some vanilla ice cream, some chocolate syrup. She said, you better write that down, Boudreaux. Boudreaux says, Marie, I got this. No, you better write it down. And they argue, and he goes out the door. Boudreaux comes back, throws a cheeseburger in Marie's lap. She looks at Boudreaux and says, I told you I didn't want no cheese.